Hi my Valentines, happy Valentine's Day. Today's tutorial is going to be with Lily. I'm gonna start by cleaning her face with micellar water. As always, make sure you prep your skin really well before the makeup. Lily has normal to oily skin and she's oilier in her T-zone. So next I'm going to use pore minimizing primer in the center of her face, a little bit on her nose, her forehead, a little bit under her eyes, on her cheek area. And then I'm going to use the Tarte smoothing primer on the rest of her face. Next, I'm gonna use some brow soap in her eyebrows, and I'm gonna first go against the brow hair. Make sure to dry it a little bit, and then I'm gonna set them really nicely. As you guys can see, the end of her brow is a little scarce, so what I'm gonna do is kind of start shaping it first. You guys will be able to see that it's kind of a process. I'm gonna go back and forth, I'm gonna draw it, and then I'm gonna brush it again until I have the finish that I want, the darkness and depth that I want. And then I will go ahead with the Anastasia brow pen, which is one of my favorite products, to add small little hairs, and also it'll add definition and a little bit more depth to the eyebrow. I'm gonna then proceed by cleaning the eyebrow with a little bit of foundation. I don't like going with concealers or anything too light around the eyebrow. I like it to match her skin and to be as thin as possible. Always remember less is more. And then I'm gonna start blending that out. Once that's blended, I'm going to prime her eye and start working on the eye. This is the awkwardest part, where she has to look straight into my eye so I get the shape. And then, as you guys can see, I started drawing the shape, and this was the most crucial part actually. I was just trying to give her a nice shape and something a bit different, and something that elongates her eye. So you guys will see here how I am first blending the lines, and then I add more depth with a more like a hot pink color, and just repeating the same steps until I get the finish that I want. And then diffusing that line right above her lash a little bit, making it a bit more smoky, and feathered it out. I actually skipped a step here where I add a little bit of a shimmer in the center of her eyelid, but it's like a really white shimmer and very, very subtle. Then I went ahead with the neon pink eyeliner to add a little bit of pop. After we're done with the eye, we did this little bit for TikTok, and that foundation was giving me anxiety, so I had to blend it out as soon as possible. Then I went ahead with a smaller brush just to get in the nooks and crannies and give her more coverage with the same foundation, more coverage for where she needed it. That was mostly around the nose and a little bit around the lips. And we did a little bit of spot concealing as well. Then we moved on to concealer. You can see this concealer is a little peachy from Too Faced, only under her eye. And then I used a little bit of a lighter foundation on top of that because I wanted a thinner layer than concealer. Next, I moved to the sculpting part, and you guys can see I use a really light contour Tantour from Huda Beauty. She has a lot of face space and around her cheek and jaw, so I really played around in this part. Then I moved to adding blusher. This is from the Makeup Forever HD blush palette, and you guys can see me here layering it on. We love a blush look. We wanted to have a really flushed pink cheeks. Next, I moved on to blurring the skin out with some setting powder. As you guys can see, I use a really small brush to set certain areas, and then with a bigger brush, I went all over her face. With this big fluffy brush, I just blended out the entire face, made sure we didn't have a lot of lines. And then I spritzed her face actually with a little bit of Makeup Forever setting spray. In this step, you'll see me highlighting certain parts of her face. And then we proceeded with the lip liner. So Lily told me that she usually overlines the top lip. And for this look, we went with a really structured Cupid's bow and a hot pink lip to complement the eye look. And right about now, you'll see the final look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's really awkward for me to talk, but I really wanted to do this. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time.